guys. How's it going? I want to kind of pick up where we left off yesterday, and I want to talk about how to choose the best way to solve a system of equations. We're going to talk about two different methods today, substitution and elimination. Now, based on the information that you're given, it may be better to use one of these methods over the other. So, say for example, in a couple of the things we looked at yesterday, okay? This we see that y is equal to, right? Y is an isolated variable. That makes it very easy to do substitution, because if y is equal to something, then I can take this, and everywhere I see a y, I can replace it with that. Okay, so in this next equation, I can replace it with y. Okay, for something like this, it's very tough to do elimination method. Okay, because I can very easily add these together. You see the nice order. The x's are lined up, the y's are lined up, and the numbers are lined up. Okay, so say for example this one, substitution for sure, right? We can substitute y in here, or we can actually substitute x in here. For this one, very clearly elimination, but then there's going to be kind of everything else, like this one, where you're going to have a little free choice on how you'd want to go ahead and solve that, okay? So it's a tough thing for a lot of people, especially you guys being in 8th grade, is that, you know, you're used to, here's the method, solve the problem this way. Well, that's kind of not at the root of what math is all about. Math is all about being able to problem solve and do these things. So you guys had the skills. Now it's time to do some independent thought. It's time for you guys to go ahead and figure out your best attributes, your best way to solve some of these problems, okay? So we're still working on the same sheets we were working on yesterday. I'm going to go over these first four, and then I want you guys to go ahead and try the next four tonight, okay? All right, so your first one, substitution or elimination. Since you have an isolated variable, actually you have options, you can do either one. Y is equal to 3x minus 11. What that means is that I can replace all my y's with 3x minus 11. We call that substitution, right? Everywhere I see a y, I'm going to replace with 3x minus 11. Why am I allowed to do that? Because that's what y is equal to. What is y? You know, if you step back and said, hey, what's y equal to? 3x minus 11. Well, then can I replace every y I see with 3x minus 11? Absolutely you can, okay? And in this case, you actually could have gone the other way too. X is isolated in this one. You could have plugged this in for x, but let's keep it simple, okay? Everywhere we see a y in the second equation, we're going to replace it with 3x minus 11, okay? So what do we have? We have x is equal to 2. Now again, I'm not writing y, I'm writing 3x minus 11. Inside parentheses, please. Okay? And then I still have to write this minus 3. Okay? So again, this is just a second equation. I just replaced the y with 3x minus 11. Now our first step, let's take a look. Let's analyze the situation because we're not robots. Let's go ahead and let's say, hey, let's multiply by 2, right? We can't simplify this. We can't simplify this. We have to distribute first. Okay? So step 1, we're going to distribute, okay? 2 times 3x is going to be 6x. 2 times negative 11 will be negative 22. And let's bring down that negative 3, okay? Our next step, let's take a look. Let's take a step back. Before we start moving things from side to side, let's go ahead and let's simplify. Okay, or if you'd like to call it combine like terms. Sorry, it's hard to write on this thing. Okay, in this case, your only like terms are negative 22 and negative 3, right? So in other words, let's clean up one side of the equation before we start moving things around. So negative 22 minus 3 will be negative 25. Okay. Now, again, big step back. What are we doing? Well, we got to get all our x's on one side and all our numbers on the other, right? Well, since all I have on this side is numbers, let's not move that. Let's go ahead and let's move this one. Let's move the variables, the x's, over to the other side. What's the opposite of positive 6x? Minus 6x. All right, so x minus 6x So that's 1x, right? You guys are still not familiar with that. 1 minus 6 is going to be negative 5x. Let's go ahead and let's bring down that negative 25. Okay, so again, what do? That was called balancing. Okay, you can call it transposing if you want. Balancing the addition subtraction part, right? So again, now I misbalanced. There's nothing left to add or subtract, okay? So our last step will be balance, balance with multiplication or division, okay? So in this case, this is negative 5 times x. What's the opposite? Let's divide by negative 5 on both sides, and we'll go out and find out that x is equal to negative 25 divided by negative 5 is going to be positive 5. All right, so now we've got x, right? But we're not done. We need to find y. So let's go ahead and let's plug this back into one of these equations. Plug it back into the first one, right? Because we're trying to find y. If I plug back in 5, 3 times 5 minus 11, done. If I plug in 5 over here, now I got to move the 3 to both sides, and I have to divide by 2. Not the end of the world, but again, if you're trying to find y, this says y is equal to. All I got to do is plug in for x. So let's go ahead and let's plug that in, okay? Y is equal to 3 times 5 minus 11. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 11 is 4. So what is our final answer? 5, 4. Okay, x is 5, y is 4. If we wanted to check, let's plug into the other one. Okay, I'm going to plug in x is 5. So x is equal to 2y minus 3. Say x is 5 and y is 4. Two times 4 is 8. Is 8 minus 3 5? Yes, it is. Okay, so we're good right there. Okay, so again, tailor-made for you to do substitution method. Okay, I got to pause this because people keep sending me emails. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. I know it didn't seem like any time passed for you, but a couple minutes passed for me. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Okay, so number 2, we are recording. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Okay. So again, this one right here. Substitution, right? Substitution, right? We know what x is equal to. We know what x is equal to. Now, if you like elimination, would it be very easy to just subtract y from both sides and have x minus y is equal to 3? Yeah, that would be nice and easy. But being that it's set up this way, why do I want to erase? Being that it's set up this way, let's do it the way it is. X is equal to y plus 3. Let's go ahead and let's plug that into the other equation. Okay. So everywhere I've seen x, I'm going to replace it with y plus 3. So I'm going to say y plus 3 plus y is equal to negative 5. So again, all I did was everywhere I saw an x in the first equation, I replaced it with y plus 3. There's nothing to distribute, so we can drop the parentheses. There's nothing else to do. Y plus 3 plus y is equal to negative 5. So what are we going to do? Combine like terms. Okay, I have a y and another y. So how many y's do I have? 2 y's. Okay, now let's start balancing, right? There's nothing to simplify, there's nothing to combine, so let's balance. And again, let's try and start with the addition and subtraction stuff. So again, I have the y's on this side. Let's get the numbers over to this side, right? So what are we going to do? Subtract 3 from here, subtract 3 from here. Negative 5 minus 3 is going to be negative 8. And again, let's balance. And now let's do the multiplication division stuff. Let's divide by 2 on this side. Let's divide by 2 on this side. Y is equal to negative 4. Now that I've got y, let's find x. And again, let's plug into this one because x is isolated. So all I have to do is just do negative 4 plus 3. That means x is negative 1, right? So very easily I plugged in y here, negative 4 plus 3, negative 1. So we believe our answer is negative 1, negative 4. Please Even though you solve for x second, it goes first, right? Okay, it's x, then y. All right, and then let's just make sure. Let's plug it back into this first one. So what do I have? X plus y is equal to -5. Well, that's -1 plus -4. And last I checked, that works, okay? So again, always double check your answers, okay? So again, this one you could have gone either way, but I would say, guys, take the simplest, most direct route. But if you guys really do like the elimination method, please, by all means, you can do the elimination method if you'd like, okay? All right, here, again, clearly substitution. Do we have an elimination one? Yes, we do have elimination. Okay, clearly we got substitution again. X is equal to y plus 3, right? Now, if you want to do it that way, go ahead, plug it in, and do it this way. This one, I'm going to show you how to do the other way. I'll do this one using elimination, okay? So this one could go either way, but what I am going to say is, now I'll do the last, okay? If I wanted to, could I subtract from both sides and say that this one becomes x minus y is equal to 3? Yeah, and it would be very nice to kind of stack them up and do them that way. Again, you'd have to take it a step further, multiply by -1 to make a positive -y. But again, if you really like elimination, it's not that big a deal to go ahead and convert some of these, okay? But let's stick to the plan, okay? You have an isolated variable, okay? You have an isolated variable, x. Plug this in everywhere you see an x. Okay, so what are we going to say? 2 times y plus 3. Again, everywhere I saw an x, I replace it with y plus 3. Minus y is equal to 11. So let's distribute. Okay, again, take a look. Only thing I can do is distribute. 2y plus 6 minus y is equal to 11. Okay, let's combine. Here, 2y and -y is 1y. Now let's balance. Addition, subtraction, right? Let's subtract here, y is equal to 5. Okay, let's get x, let's plug it back in here. X is equal to 5 plus 3. Oh, nice and easy one, guys. 8, okay? So our final answer should be 8, 5, again, x first, y second. If you want to check it, 2 times 8 minus 5, or in other words, plug in 8 for x, 5 for y, is equal to 11. This is 16, and 16 minus 5 is equal to 11. Okay, so this is going to be your answer. Okay? So again, your first three, you want to do substitution, because look, isolated variables, right? Isolated variables here, right? We have isolated variables. Isolated variable. Why won't let me do it? Isolated variable. And again, isolated variable, right? These are tailor-made for you to do substitution. Your last one, no isolated variables. Now, would it be difficult to isolate a variable? No. Right? You could very easily subtract x or y from this first one, right? Or we could very easily subtract 2x from this one. What I'm going to tell you guys is probably a better attitude to say this is x plus y. Well, this is separated by addition, right? So can I just say 2x plus y is equal to 2? Yeah, that's pretty straightforward, okay? Now, again, if you want to do substitution, do substitution. I'm going to do elimination because the first three examples were not elimination, okay? So I need the positive and negative version of the same number, okay? So I'm going to say I have two positive y's, right? So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to multiply this one by -1. Okay? So this one's staying the same. And this one's now, again, times a negative, times a negative, times a negative. 2 times a negative, -2. 1 times a negative, -1. And 2 times a negative is going to become -2. Now we can very easily add all these things together. X minus 2x is going to be -1. 1x. These eliminate, and this will become negative 4. Well, negative x equals negative 4, then positive x. Okay, sorry. So x is equal to 4, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to plug that back into either one of these equations. I'm going to say the first one. It's much easier to use. So what I have x plus y is equal to negative 2. Let's plug in 4. Let's go ahead and let's subtract 4 from both sides. We'll find out that y is equal to negative 6. So we have our hypothesis that our answer is 4, negative 6. Let's go ahead, let's plug that into the other one to check. So I have y plus 2x is equal to 2. So I'm plugging negative 6 for y plus 4 for x. Negative 6 plus 8 is equal to 2, and that is true. Okay, so again, like I said, guys, pick what works for you, but be aware that there's going to be some easier routes. I know a lot of you guys fall in love with substitution, and that's fine, but there is a time and place for elimination a little bit later in math, okay? So pick your poison, use what works best for you, and we'll take from there, okay? So try and do the next 4 tonight, and we will pick this up tomorrow. Please send questions if you have them, please.